Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make house music like Harrison BDP. As usual, you can get the project file and samples, MIDI and presets, and everything that you just heard in the intro in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, let's get started. So, the first sound that we have here are the stabs, which sound like this. So these are two different things, but they're pretty similar sounds. They're both doing the same thing. The goal here is for these to be a sound that is both rhythmic and melodic. So it's adding to the groove of the track, but it's also, like I said, adding to the music part of the track. So the first one sounds like this on its own. Here are the notes for this one. It's just following the chord progression. So we have a D sharp minor 9 and then A sharp minor 9. And yeah, it's just kind of bouncing between those two. Definitely the minor ninth chords. I mean, I'll talk about this more when I get to the pad. But the minor ninth chord is definitely a great thing for this style of house. But the sound on this one, it's made in analog. You can see we just got two saw waves going into a bandpass filter. The bandpass has a bit of an envelope on it. I'm also automating the frequency, which you can see there. Yeah, it's just kind of like moving it and changing it over time, makes the sound more dynamic and more alive and not just like the same repetitive thing over and over, but something that's changing and evolving. After that, we get the amp envelope set like that, and then that is it for inside the synth. After that, we have a bit of chorus, just kind of spreading the sound out a bit. Then I've got a bit of echo. This is doing dotted eighth notes. You can see, yeah. The echo is definitely pretty important for this one. It's meant to sound very dubby and spacey like this, so the echo is perfect for that. And then the last thing we have on there is just a drum bus to fatten the sound up. And that is it for the first stab. The second stab sounds like this. I was playing the same thing, D sharp minor 9 up to A sharp minor 9. But the sound on this one, I made it using FM synthesis. So we got operator here. You can see I have two sine waves. They are 2 octaves apart, I believe. And then those are going into a low pass filter. So here's without that. You can hear it's very like dry sounding, but with the low pass, I've got a little bit of an envelope on there, so you can hear it's giving it that kind of like more organ sound. And this one really sounds dubby to me. The only other thing we got inside the synth there is this LFO, which is just moving the filter frequency slightly. It's very similar to what I did with the automation on the bandpass filter on the first stab. It's just kind of moving it, bringing it to life, making it not just like sit in the same place the whole way through the track. After that, we have actually the same processing that was on the other synth. We've got a chorus to spread it out, a bit of echo, giving it some space. Again, really helps to give it that dubby feel. And then a bit of drum bus to fatten the sound up. And that is it for that second stab. So the next sound we have here in these chords, which sound like this. So these are meant to be kind of like a more lo-fi, sort of like deep pad. You can see this just going D sharp minor 9, like I said, and then A sharp minor 9. That's our chord progression. And yeah, this one is very simple. It's like I was saying before, the minor ninth chords are really good for this style. I mean, you can use just regular minor chords or regular major chords, but definitely adding that extra voice or voices on top, like whether it be you're doing like a major 7th chord, a minor 7th chord, a major 9th, a minor 9th, or any other thing, like a regular 7th chord. So many different things that you can do. But it just adds something a little bit extra to the sound. It makes it have a lot more color and character and feel a lot more alive. Even if it's just like chord voices, it makes a big, big difference. The other thing here is this sort of like strumming. So it doesn't just hit the chord. It goes boom, kind of into it like that. That's definitely a technique that I hear a lot in this kind of house. It's just a matter of taking the notes and kind of pushing the start times back a little bit. And yeah, and then for the sound on this one's made using analog. We've got a sine wave and a square wave. And you can see those are detuned a little bit. They're going into a low pass filter. The low pass has an envelope on it. It also has a little bit of an LFO on it, and just kind of slowly moving that. So you get that like that. There's without the filter. And then with it, I've got the amp envelope set like this, and then the only other thing inside the synth is just a bit of vibrato, kind of giving it more of like a warbly feel. And yeah, then after that we have some chorus. This is helping to spread the sound out. This makes it more of like a wide pad sound. You know, I wanted this sound to be very big and full and kind of filling out the mix. So stuff like this really helps. After that we have a bit of reverb. You can hear that one, definitely essential for any pad sound. And then after that we just have a bit of drum bus, kind of giving it that warmth that you hear. Here's without that. You can hear it's definitely the same sound, but it's not as like alive and full and warm as this is. And it's distorting it a little. It sounds a little crispy. To me it sounds good, so I'm just rolling with it. After that we have this auto filter just cutting out the low end, because with this sound, if I turn this off you can hear quite a bit of low end in there, which would definitely get in the way of the bass and stuff like that. So we wouldn't want to have that, so I just have that cutting out the low end. And that is it for the chords. The next thing that we have here is the kick, which sounds like this. This is just like a standard sort of punchy 909 style house kick, you know. Nothing too out of the ordinary. With this, you just want like a shorter, kind of tighter one. I feel like a lot of the influence for this style of house comes from like minimal house. So I'd recommend looking through those kinds of sounds. And then I have a bit of processing on that. It's just these two EQs, which are cutting out the low mid-range, kind of getting rid of some mud, as well as this drum bus here, which is just kind of making it a bit fatter. Here's without it. And then with it, you can hear it just makes the kick really punch through. And that is it for the kick. The next sound here is the bass, which sounds like this. So this is the MIDI for this. You can see it's really just following the chord progression. It's just doing the D sharp and the A sharp, like I said, and then just kind of some extra notes around that. So yeah, it might seem complicated. It's just more about like working with it rhythmically and knowing how to like place notes in the right place, and really just following the scales from like these two chords. Like we got just a D sharp minor scale here for these notes, A sharp minor scale here for those notes, and a lot of those notes are also in the D sharp minor scale. So it's like, yeah, it's not that complicated. It's just, like I said, kind of like less is more. You know, just really strategically putting the notes in the right place to make it fit into the groove in a certain way. For the sound on this one, it's made using operator actually, and there's actually no FM going on here. I just like it because the filter on operator sounds really good for these kinds of sounds. But yeah, you can see we just got a saw wave going into a low pass filter. Low pass has an envelope on it. And yeah, and then I just have a bit of drum bus on that, as well as this EQ8, which is cutting at 100 hertz to make room for the kick. I'm doing a bit of a low end boost to make that a bit fatter. And then I have the kick and the bass in a group together, just kind of processing them together. We get some EQs, cutting out some mud, and then I've also got this drum bus here. The drum bus is really the most important thing. Here's without that. And then with it, so you can hear it's very essential for making the low end fat and powerful, and really making it like punch through properly. And then the EQs, like I say, just kind of focus the sound and refine it a little bit. After that, next thing we have here, these hi-hats, which sound like this. So what we got going on here is we have like this main one playing on the upbeats. This is like a 909 hi-hat. Pretty standard house sound. I tried to get this really close to the ones that Harrison BDP uses in a lot of his tracks. This is very specific. But then it's that one with all these other little skippy hi-hats underneath it. So we have like this one. This one, which is playing a bunch of extra stuff on the 16th notes. And I've also got this one playing on the upbeats to double up that 909 hi-hat and give it some more body. And then we have this one. So the main thing to take away here is just like the different types of hi-hats. Like, it's all about just getting a few, like obviously you don't want 10 of these, but having like 3 of them and then one main one that's playing on the upbeats is good. It's just a matter of finding ones that are different, sort of like sonically, like just different sounding hi-hats basically, and just knowing how to place them in ways in the groove where they're not going to get in the way of each other, and it's going to be very clear to the listener that there are 3 hi-hats happening, and then that 9 or 9 hi-hat. The only other sound we have here is this rim shot, which sounds like this. And this just playing on the 2 and the 4, you know, pretty standard stuff. Definitely this sound is a lot more like that dubby minimal style sound. Like, I wouldn't use this in like a more straightforward lo-fi house track. But it's good when you're trying to combine that with a more minimal kind of vibe. So yeah, and then have all that percussion in a group. It's very similar to the low end bus I showed you, where it's just taking all the similar stuff, putting it in a group together, and kind of making it all sound like one. Here's with no group processing. And then with it, so you can see why this is essential. So the first thing here is the drum bus. I've got this on the hard setting, and this is doing a lot. You can hear it's really helping to bring the volumes of everything to a more even place. And also, it just makes everything fatter, you know, it just makes everything more full and stronger sounding. And then the other thing on there is this EQ8. This is just cutting out the low end, giving a bit of a mid-range boost. I find this helps for the fatness. Like, it's not really necessarily what you would consider to be like the fatness frequency range, but with these sounds it is, and this will add a lot of body to this percussion. So that's the purpose of that. And then the hi-hat, or the high-end boost, is just for bringing out that bright high end, kind of making this a bit sharper. I'll show you here's without the EQ. And then with it. So you can hear why you want to do this. It just kind of focuses the sound and gives it that last little push to really make it what you want and really make it full and professional sounding. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said at the beginning, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets and all of that from this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there. It's all already available. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.